Good evening and welcome. My name is Nathaniel Welch. I am co-chair of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee, and I'm calling this public meeting to order at 7:07 p.m. Today's agenda was posted on the committee's webpage on the town website, and this public Zoom meeting is being recorded and will be available for review at some point shortly after, probably next week. Okay. This meeting is held under the authority of legislation that authorizes remote and hybrid meetings until March 31st, 2025. In the event of any technical difficulties from which we cannot recover within 5 minutes, this meeting will be ended and all matters on the agenda that have not been heard will be continued at our next meeting. All votes will be taken by roll call votes. The minutes for tonight's meeting will be taken by committee member Adrian Boardman. Adrian, thank you again for recording the august discussions that we have. And at this time, I'll ask the committee members to indicate that they are present when I call their name. Adrian Boardman.
Present.
Brian Krause.
Present.
Dorcas Miller.
Present.
And I, Nat Welch, am present with 4 of the 7 members. We have a quorum. Our first agenda item is to approve the minutes from the meeting of September 28th. The members have received copies of it. Are there any edits to the minutes that committee members want to suggest? Okay. May I have a motion to
accept the minutes?
Thank you.
Accept the minutes, yeah.
Thank you, Dorcas. A second?
Second.
Thank you. A roll call. Ms. Boardman?
Aye.
Mr. Krause?
Aye.
Ms. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Welch says aye, and the minutes are approved unanimously. I'd like to invite Erin Stevens, who's the Acting Director of Planning and Land Management. I think that's her title, but whoever she is with the town, and to provide a monthly update to the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee.
I wonder if you can convince somebody to give me that pay raise as well, Nat, because you like to repeat the title over and over. So
I do. I will have a conversation with Megan and the town manager
right.
about this issue. So,
Right.
okay, that's unofficial business. Yes.
So I thought that I sent it all to you shortly after Nat sent out the agenda. However, I just replied to his email, which he had sent
Incorrectly, right?
to the wrong listserv, so none of you received it. So I apologize.
And I just got a copy right now, so I assume that's the resend.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I will just tell you what's on it. So as several of you have noted, the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail phase 2D going through Sudbury is in progress right now, and has its first layer of pavement going from Powder Mill Road through at least the Concord portion. It was noted that it is an active construction zone, and that we request, Sudbury requests that people are staying off of the trail at this time. It is not open yet. We will continue to receive updates from Sudbury. I've had some difficulty getting updates from our Mass DOT contact, but Sudbury has been getting regular updates, and so we will be continuing to rely on those from Marcia Rasmussen, who is now working in Sudbury part-time on the Bruce Freeman. She couldn't stay away.
Right.
The ribbon cutting for phase 2B has finally been set, which is very exciting. It will happen on Halloween, October 31st at 10 a.m. It will be taking place at the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail parking lot directly off of Commonwealth Ave. So that is right next to what will be Giroux Park and Warner's Pond, if you're trying to remember where that is.
Next to the prison.
Yes, next to the prison. They are still finalizing the speaker schedule and who will be attending, but there will be several state officials, and that's why it has been rescheduled several times, to make sure that as many state officials that wanted to be there were able to attend. Let's see. The removal of the walk your bike signs through Junction Park. I know that that was voted at the last meeting of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee. It has been requested that that goes to the select board along with any other recommendations for Junction Park. So that is what we will do. So anything that this committee is recommending and that the Commission on Disabilities is recommending, that will be a part of it, that recommendation to remove those signs. The town submitted a letter of support, excuse me, for GPI. They are going for an award for engineering excellence, specifically for the phase 2B, so the bridge over Route 2. So the town gave a letter of support, and we are very excited, and hopefully they get that, because that'd be great recognition for this project. And then the last thing that is in that update is there are several comments that were sent in to the planning division regarding different concerns that people have about the Bruce Freeman. Things like they want more signage, keeping the trails cleared, issues about e-bikes, looking at, can we get motion cameras to try to catch people doing things that they aren't supposed to be doing, and people walking their dogs off lead. So I think that I don't know how much the committee wants to take up at this time or put on a future agenda, but we will continue to provide you with those comments as they come up, so you all can be aware of those.
Thank you. Committee members, any questions, comments?
I have one.
Dorcas?
It's not really our problem. It's in Sudbury. I walked from my house down to 117, and right near Frank Morris' house in Sudbury, they're pumping out a pond. The pond used to have something going under the railroad tracks and then went to a brook on the other side of the pond. Now they've blocked it. It seems to be totally blocked, but they're pumping it. I'm very surprised. Does anybody know anything about that?
I know not, I've heard nothing. Marcia might know something.
I mean, I'm surprised because it does not seem like something Natural Resources would be excited about, or they might be excited about, but would not. Okay.
And you think it's on the Sudbury side of the
It's definitely in Sudbury. It's right by Mount Frank Morris' house.
okay. So Dorcas, I'm happy to reach out to Marcia and ask her that we're curious what's happening. It isn't in our territory, but I think it's
Right.
better do that.
I'm just surprised to see them pumping a pond
Mhm.
over the railroad tracks with a big tube.
Yeah.
It just seems unusual.
Right. And if it's a vernal pond or something, there must be some
It's
regulations.
not a vernal pool. It's not a vernal pond. It's a pond.
Okay. 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 So I will check on it. Go ahead, Erin.
I will note that in the update that was we were given from Sudbury, they do mention that there were some very high water conditions that were impeding some of the work. So it could be due to that. I'm not sure. It's best to check with Sudbury, but that would be the only thing that I see that seems to coincide with that from the update, at least.
Well, the water is definitely high, but they took away the culvert or whatever it was that went under the railroad tracks, and now it's just blocked, as far as I can see. I mean, what can I see? I mean, I'm walking on it, looking at it. And it just seems like a very strange way to do it.
Okay. Thank you, Dorcas. I'll get back to you when I find something out. Other committee members? Any
Yeah,
other? Yes,
Erin,
Adrian.
Aaron, I don't know if it makes sense to talk about this now or maybe later in the agenda when we talk about Junction Park, but I was just curious when you referenced that any future kind of decisions on timing, like the recommendation to go ahead and remove the signs in Junction Park, that would need to be presented to the select board. I don't know if you have any thoughts on like timing of process of when that would be done. And if there's anything we can do to help assist with that, just given that was one of the recommendations made, was it back in June, I think, Nat, like when it was first presented. So again, maybe better suited later in the agenda, but I'm just curious how we start to see some progress on those short-term kind of quick win recommendations.
Including the planters by the track.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my question now is just specifically around the signs, given that's what Erin had mentioned in her update. And just, is that something that like you and your team would push forward? Or I know Nat before had presented to the select board, just trying to figure out how we keep momentum on that piece.
Right. So, Erin, do you have any comments? Because I have a thought.
Go ahead.
All right.
I'll answer whatever you have.
Okay. So, Adrian, I think we're waiting for Megan to kind of say, here's what the town wants to do. We've done our job. We've done the recommendations. We've made additional recommendations, and those are all taken under consideration by the town. And I think the signs are one of them. The planters, all the other stuff that's happened or that we've been discussing. I think we'll at some point we'll probably hear from the town.
Okay.
As important as our committee is, we're probably not the biggest issue that's on top of their mind, but we do need
of course,
we do need to continue to push this issue of safety and clarity around what happens in Junction Park. So I see part of my our role as co-chairs is to friendly nudges to Erin or Megan, just saying, hey, we have a meeting coming up, do you have any updates for us? And so we're still waiting for kind of what the town wants to do in Junction Park. I think with the signage, if the town feels like they need the select board to kind of bless it, then that's their that's their call. I think some of the other comment, I'll pause there for Junction Park because I have a couple of comments about some of the other public comments we've gotten. Does anyone want to add anything?
Just real quick, just to be on the record, Aaron knows how I feel about this, and I know we're kind of dependent on other parties here. I love the progress we're making on the trail. I don't love the lack of transparency of what's been done on the Concord section and what's going to be done next month, and are we on track or not on track. And I realize like we need information from other entities to be able to communicate such things, but I'll just want to be on the record on, I'd like more transparency.
Right. And Brian, thank you for consistently being clear about what you're looking for. That's great. And I think, Aaron, is it true that essentially all management of the project from Powder Mill Road down to Route 20 comes out of Sudbury, right? Because the contractor is working essentially as part of the Sudbury piece. So the question is, how can we tweak Sudbury or the consultant down there, Marcia, to tell us more about what's happening in Concord and when? And when I ask her about the pond, Brian, I'm happy to also ask her about could you please give us like Concord specific updates at least once a month, or if something big's going to happen, let us know. Does that sound reasonable?
That sounds great. Thank you.
Okay. And don't stop being that squeaky wheel. Important.
Sometimes it works.
Right. Sometimes it works. On these other issues, I think it makes sense for us to start to think about maybe having a meeting in the near term regarding there too about who has the right of way on the path, keeping right, dogs being leashed. Now I know Barbara Pike is here, and the Friends have been very active in kind of driving a consistent signage for the trail. I will say, in my wanderings around New England, there are a couple of trails that every quarter mile have something to remind people that walkers yield to, wheeled people yield to pedestrians on the track. So I don't want to get into it tonight, but I think it's worthwhile us kind of revisiting how do we want to help people to understand what the expected behaviors are. And Barbara, if I could ask you as a representative of the Friends of the Bruce Freeman, have the signs been finished, and are they getting ready to be placed?
That's an excellent question. No, the signs are not finished.
Okay.
Apparently, the sign company was super busy in September and nobody was pushing on them. But Carlene says that they are apparently working on the signs. And it's my impression that in Concord, there are 4 locations that currently have 2 different sets of rules. And those 2 signs will be removed, and the new sign, which is the size of the big sign, will be placed. That Public Works will do that. Is that, Erin, does that sound about right?
That does sound right. Barbara, I actually have a question for you if you don't mind.
Okay, fire away.
Do you off the top of your head know who the vendor is? Because that was a question that was asked of me, and I don't remember if I ever got back to you about that.
Off the top of my head, I don't know, but I can find out.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Because that was the last question I think Highway and Grounds had. Because they wanted to make sure that they had the right specs from the company before preparing to put them up.
Right, the right posts and so on. Yeah. So the signs, which I had to refresh myself with, the uniform signage that was recommended, has in bold: yield to pedestrians, keep right, pass left, give audible signal when passing, do not block trail. And then in slightly lowercase, and maybe it's changed a little bit, the other 4 are: wear helmets, leash pets, remove waste, no littering, and carry in, carry out, and respect property adjacent to the trail. So
There's
I think
no
we're
big letters and little letters. They're all
right.
Equal.
Okay, all equal. Okay, all right. So that's the thing. But I think we should probably take up the sign question at a future meeting, just in the interest of time, because we do have a few other things we want to cover. So I'll take responsibility along with Adrian to find the next agenda where we can discuss that issue. The second thing I wanted to note is keep the trail clean was one of the comments, Erin, that you had mentioned. And I had a back and forth over this past week with Erin and Alan Cathcart and Alan McCloskey. Is that the right way to frame it?
McCloskey. Yeah.
McCloskey, sorry, McCloskey. So we're going to put on the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail Advisory Committee webpage at the top 2 items that will allow any resident to say, hey, there's an issue, and post a report. Or else make a phone call. So both those items will be there. And it's like, duh, why didn't we think of this a few years ago? But anyway, there it is. So we're going to do that. And Brian, thank you for bringing it up, because that was the impetus for me to make those calls, etc. So that should be up, we're hoping, in the next few days. And so if any member or anybody on the in this meeting is on the trail and sees something, a down branch, a pothole, big pile of leaves or whatever, they should feel free to go on the website and make a report.
It is currently up on the website. It is just down a little bit towards the bottom, because I didn't want to I wanted to check in with our communications manager to see what order she wanted to put it in there, but I wanted to make sure it was on there, so it's up there.
Okay. And I think we also will need to update the membership list. I'll talk about that in a minute. Okay. Any other questions from the committee members on the report? I will briefly open to any member of the public who would like to ask a question or comment on the town report, town memo. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
Yeah, I have a question. Where is the town report?
Oh, It will be posted on the website. The town memo will be posted on the website.
Oh, so
you-
we
you-
haven't seen it, so we don't have any questions. That works.
Well, Erin reported it. She told you what was on it. And, there's a process by which it gets written up, and then sent to the committee members. It gets publicly discussed, and then it goes on the website. So it's available. So, what Erin was talking about, what's on the report, the town memo, sorry. Okay. Next item of business is we're moving to the committee business, and I would like to start by inviting Liz Rust and Sam Williams to give us a brief update on the prison cemetery work that's being done. Our last meeting, as you may remember, the committee sent a support letter to the appropriate authorities. I can't remember who it was, Liz, but how are things going, and what would you like to share with us?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Liz Rust. I do a number of things, and you might know me from my work in affordable housing for the town, but I'm here as part of my work for Concord Prison Outreach. I'm here with Sam Williams, who's the executive director. And we are really pleased to have progressed the project to the point of submitting a community preservation committee application for this next piece of work. So we've been able to define the work, and it's gone on for a little bit of time. I'll let Sam do a little bit more history. We appreciate the support letter that you provided, and I don't know if you reviewed the materials or where we've come on the project. But let me have Sam do a little introduction of the project, and then we can talk about some of the specifics.
Perfect. Sam, welcome.
You're on
mute. You're on mute.
Good evening, and thank you for both supporting the idea and concept and allowing us to come and share a little bit about what we have been doing. My name is Sam Williams. I'm the executive director for Concord Prison Outreach, and I'm going on a little more than 2 years in my role. It was about maybe a couple of weeks before I started that former resident of Concord, but her family still lives in Concord, Patty Roos, approached me with this idea, and knew that it had, public, educational, historical, and some prison reform, dimensions to it, but wasn't sure how we could really bring it to life and really have it be a benefit to both the volunteers that we work with and the city, the town of Concord. So we've been, this project has been in formation and development for the last 2 years. We call it the Concord Prison Cemetery. We gave it a subtitle name, Naming the Unnamed, and it was related to what we learned about the cemetery and how it was situated. In the last 2 years, we've done a lot of research to just bring to more light the 218 individuals who were buried there, and to really just connect the work we do at CPO. CPO is a prison education program. We were founded by Di Clymer over 55 years ago, and so we're just trying to keep the legacy of Di alive, while at the same time really honoring the cemetery as a location that should be
Dorcas, could you mute your microphone?
So we, over the last 2 years, we've invited and connected with folks from Concord, the Mass College of Art. We've done a lot of genealogy studies. We're also working closely with the Concord Library to really put all of the data that we've collected over the last 2 years into the special archives. And the primary focus of the project is the online gallery that we're putting all of the data, the genealogy data and the information that we researched There's the physical aspect to it that deals with, seating location, a plaque, and a panel. And then there's the component that we're calling community curation, which is because of the work that we did with Mass College of Art, and there was some artwork that was created as a result of the project. We want to exhibit that information in as many community locations, public locations in the town that we can. Again, just to speak to one, the history of the prison being built in Concord, the work that we do with educating and preparing people to come back home, working with families. And so that's kind of the summary of the project in short. It's been amazing over the last 2 years. Again, it went from a concept to now where it's at today, and we've been getting a lot of support. And we thank you all for supporting and trusting that this will be a benefit to both the Bruce Freeman Railway work that you've all been doing, and the town members and tourists of Concord who use the resources in that area.
Thank you, Sam.
So
Thank
I
you
have
for
a
your-
couple of things I could show you to further
Sure,
describe or Can I screen share? Can you make that happen for me?
Abracadabra. Aaron's going to have to be the one to make it happen.
Almost. There we go. Okay,
Yeah,
so
we're doing
first
now.
I'm going to show you the online gallery. So this is right off of the this is the special collections at the library. So if I just go back a little bit here, so you can see here we're at the special collections and we go into the browse exhibits, and we have here, right, naming the unnamed. And this is just a prototype just so we could see what it looks like. I think, did I click on that? Yep, there we go. So it has a landing page, which we're working on, but just to provide some information. And then it would be for each of the people buried there. And there's a picture of their stone marker. There's the biography that we've just been finishing for all 217 people. And then the artwork that's been done. So that would be available for each of the people buried in the cemetery. So and so we had interns spent some number of months putting together these biographies. We've just taken new photos of each of the stone markers. The Department of Corrections did a nice job. I don't know, clearing the brush around them and what have you. So,
Right.
so that's that part. We had some private fundraising that we did, and we were able to get a grant and some private donations to make that work happen. And then, so that's the online gallery. So that's what that will look like. There will be a little bit more, that's just the prototype, but you can go there for right there. And so I wanted to also show, so the physical part, which is really what the CPC funds will fund. So I just had a couple of pages here. So, right, so here we are, right? So here's the cemetery, and you're all very familiar. And this is where the groundbreaking, ribbon cutting that you're doing coming up next week.
Right.
So here's the cemetery, and here's the, yep. Is that okay? Yeah. So we spent some time. Our initial concept was to have a path down here, where we were going to have a path and a contemplative bench and maybe a plaque and looking up here at the hill, but actually traversing like onto like the markers are actually right up here, right over the right of way, and trying to find a path that didn't cross where people were actually buried was going to be really too difficult. And there are many regulations and considerations if you're going to disturb areas where people are buried. So that was kind of something that was difficult to work around. And also the Department of Corrections didn't really want everyone going through onto the cemetery. So they've been very supportive of this concept, which is all the work is happening here in the right of way. So we're actually not onto the cemetery itself. So you can see this little bump out. That's what we're going to be looking to do. And it's going to look something like this. not sure if it's going to look exactly like this, but something like this, where, you know, we have a different area here where you could sit. So it's not going to look like these benches over here, but it's going to be a little bit different. There'll be an interpretive panel that'll look very similar to the other ones on the trail. The Department of Corrections wants some fencing to, you know, to keep access away. So we're just kind of working on that. And we're looking at benches that look like this. These are from Walden Pond. Some old, you know, wooden trees. I don't even know what to call it. They've been preserved, and you know, so
Okay.
anyway, so that's what we're thinking of for a bench. Though there another option. I don't know if I have the picture of it here. Another option is just a granite. I think this is actually shown with a granite, just a granite slab there. If you call it a bench, you need to provide some accessible seating. You probably know all this because this is what you all do. So it would have to have a back. So you can't really just have a piece of granite there that you could sit on. You could, but you can't call it a bench. So I think that we have to really just kind of, you know, work on that. We the current work is on pause, waiting for a survey of just that area, so we know exactly where the right of way is, so we know exactly how to design the piece that's there. And so Erin is working hard on that to try to get someone to come. And I think it's a GPW, GPI, GP who, I don't know, whatever, the one that you just wrote.
GPI.
Yeah,
DPI, yeah, they did the original survey for that
Mhm.
section, and
Yeah.
so we're looking to see if we can work with them again. Just been going back and forth to make sure that we have the right parameters in the survey and that it falls within the CPC funds. And so we've gone back and forth. It feels like a million times at this point, and some point in the next couple of days, I hope to have it finalized, and then we'll have that survey done and can move on from there. So that'll be
Yep.
exciting.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so the survey will be done, and then we can finalize the design, and then when the CPC funds hopefully are available in July, we could, you know, work towards that. The intention is, or the hope is that this would all be ready for part of the Concord 250. So it would be part of all the events of that. You know, it's kind of a modest, doable project. We have the biographies written, so the online gallery looks good. We've been working with Anka Voss at the special collection. She's super helpful. We have the landscape architect all set to go here. And so I think we have the pieces in place to get it done, I think.
So the next steps, Liz, would be once you move kind of the design process forward, you'll come back to us with here's what we're thinking.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, that would be great. So we can weigh in. I have a question, but I want to defer to the other members first. If you guys have any, Adrienne, Brian, or Dorcas, do you have any questions?
No, nothing from my end. It's just really exciting to see the progress over time. So I appreciate the update.
Sure.
It is cool. I think my question to Sam and you would be, and I think Erin, probably the town needs to think about this a bit, is if it becomes an attraction, is there enough space for people to put bikes on the side of the trail? So I think one of the questions I'd like the architects to think about would be if on the benches in your picture on the right-hand side, the ones that have the backs and so on, would it make sense for us to consider maybe stone dusting a little bit more, maybe putting a couple of racks in for people to put their bikes? I'm not saying we should. I just think it's worth thinking about because if we have a fair amount of things going on in that area at Giroux Park. We have the crossing, we have the cemetery, and then we have that bench with the interpretive sign. I just want to make sure that we all of a sudden aren't like having bikes. This is overstating it, but kind of bikes strewn across the trail as people and their families stop to look at what's what. So I'd like to think about how do we manage a volume of people stopping so we don't interrupt the flow of the trail.
Yep. I think that, so we intentionally, let me just go back to the.
So I don't need the answer now. I'm just saying, just as a consideration.
Yep.
you know,
We intentionally off-centered the bump out area
Mhm.
to the bench just for that, but I hear your point there.
yeah, it's not a, you know, it's not a showstopper. It's just like, let's think about this as we you know, do a little pre-mortem on the design to see what you know, what we can think of that might be a challenge. So that's
Yep.
great. And I really appreciate both of you doing this this work. And Sam, I attended the library event where the
Oh.
kids, I shouldn't say kids, the students were all showing their pictures and so on. It was really cool, very moving. So thank you for doing that. And are the what's kind of the date you're hoping? Is it like by the fall?
Well, so the money would be available July 1. So hopefully out of the really depends on your Junction Park spend, right? But out of the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail funds that are available right now, or I don't know, Erin's working all that.
Okay,
We're
great.
able to do the survey as well as do the design, because we could do those this year. And then the
Oh.
construction money is what we're looking for CPC starting in July. We hope to have the draft and the design of the panel done also this, like in the spring. So we're sort of lining that up, and the
Good.
online gallery can really go sort of separately.
Anyway,
So we'd like
right.
to be ready to bid out, if you will, the construction part, you know, come the summer.
And could you bring us a copy of the proposed interpretive sign?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, that's great.
So I'll ask Erin for help, because I think she also, didn't you mention that we have to get like Mass DOT involved too in the design, maybe? Something. But yes, we'll come here and see if there's others besides yourselves who want to weigh in. Is that right? Is that right,
Right.
Erin?
It does have to go through the state because it is you know, while it's town maintains, it is still state right of way.
Yeah.
And so we do have to have any of this work does have to go through them before actually beginning construction or anything like that. So
Right.
it is
So-
there's always a little bit something extra, right?
Yeah, no, that's good. Okay, great. Liz and Sam, thank you so much for your time. Any other questions from anybody? From the public? Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, our
Thank
next,
you.
Thank you. Have a good
Our-
evening.
you too. Our next item of business is the 2 interpretive signs for the last half-mile section, copies of which were forwarded to the committee. I don't know, Erin, if you want to throw them up onto the screen. I think our role is just to look at them. I think we've talked about these before. Does the town need us to make a recommendation that we approve of these, Erin? Is that what we're looking for? Okay, great.
Yes.
Great.
Let me pull up the signs.
And when the signs come up, I'll open the floor to committee members, and then if any members of the public have any comments or questions, I'm going to open it up.
So this is one of the signs.
Easy to read, as you can see.
So this is the concept. There will still be, you know, there's still a few photos that need to be added and things like that.
Mhm.
But if the committee approves of the concept, then they will finalize. They didn't want to move forward until they got the approval from the committee to move forward.
Right.
And
And
then this is the other one.
This will be located approximately where? Approximately where the trail cuts closest to the pond, where that steep drop off is, or do you know?
I believe so. I'm not 100% certain.
Okay, I think
it'll
it is on
be-
the plans.
Yeah, there is a "You are here" on the sign on the White Pond one. Sorry, I was looking at
Okay.
the other
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I believe that the Heartleaf Pond one, this one, won't be in the same exact place because I believe that Heartleaf Pond is a vernal pool.
It's a vernal pond. Yep, it's on the left as you're walking south. In fact, it's right near Dorcas's house, isn't that Dorcas? Okay, we'll wait for Dorcas to come back on if she wants.
So I'm sorry,
Okay.
where is it exactly?
It is on. So as you're walking from Powder Mill Road, you go through the tunnel. You're heading south. I don't know, it's 100 yards or more. On the left, there's kind of a steep drop off, a big kind of
Yeah,
a
okay,
bowl.
I got it.
So that's the vernal pond. And you'll need to go in spring to see the vernal in there.
Yep.
You're-
No,
you're-
I'm locked in
You're
now,
locked
thanks.
in. Okay, good. All right. So any member questions on the signage? I think they look pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they look great. My only
Yeah.
thought is like it's a lot of text, but I also know that a lot of people like to stop and read all of the text, so maybe that's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And maybe on the screen it just looks like a lot, but no, I think they're great things to have along the trail.
Yeah. Concord is all about learning, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
So-
no issues. I'll defer to the experts on this, so I think it looks good.
I do like the fact that the geology is explained because I have
Mhm.
I have a thing about geology, so that's great. So could I have if there, is there any public discussion on this? Anyone from the public who wants to speak on it? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the content and placement of the interpretive signs? Oh, Brian, go ahead. Oh, yes.
I did have one question. So these are like 90%. I guess what are the things that could possibly change between these versions and the final
Great
ones?
question.
Sure. So I think that the only things that they're considering changing are swapping out photos for higher resolution photos and maybe adjusting, if, for instance, they thought like, here I can share again. For instance, perhaps, having this not be the white background, but have white lettering and have just the icon so
Okay.
that it looks cleaner, things like that, just to sort of clean up the edges a little bit. And I think that otherwise the content will remain the same, but maybe, the picture of the hawk gets switched out for another picture of a hawk that's crisper or something like that.
Okay.
Are we suggesting that there are foxes here? Is that a fox?
It does look like a fox.
And then above it is what? Is that a kingfisher? No, what is that? That bird. All right. I just want to make sure that we are accurately representing the wildlife around town.
I do trust the natural resources
Good.
division on this.
Good. If they're doing it, then I'm fine. Okay. Excellent.
Motion to approve the content and placement of the signs.
Second? May I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. I will do the roll call, which would be Ms. Boardman,
Aye.
Mr. Krantz,
Aye.
Ms. Miller, Dorcas, you're on mute. Hey, Dorcas?
I can unmute Dorcas if that's helpful,
Okay,
or I can ask to unmute.
yeah. I don't know if she's at the she's at her podium. Dorcas, are you there? Okay. I guess we'll wait for a minute. Let me see if I can send her a message.
Because we can't have just three of us approve, right?
We cannot. No, we need to have a quorum. Well, I mean, we could try, but I think it would cause all sorts of issues. And we may, if she has dropped off, we may have to call the meeting if she does not stay on. That's my understanding of the rules. Is that correct, Aaron, as far as you know?
So you could continue meeting, you could not have any votes or anything like that. It just
Okay.
changes what the meeting is essentially.
Okay.
So
Okay, so
you would end your formal meeting now and have more of a public discussion, I guess.
okay, but it wouldn't. But we would have to terminate. We'd have to adjourn the formal meeting and terminate the minutes in this case. Okay. I think we'll wait another minute and see if she comes back. I sent her a note. She may have. Oh, she says she's here. I approve. Can you, let's see. I have a text. She says I'm here and I approve.
I can ask again to unmute and
Okay.
ask if she can approve.
Yeah. And what is she? Oh, she's trying. Okay.
I'm here.
There you are. Okay.
Ah, finally.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, Dorcas. So the motion was to approve the content and the placement of the interpretive signs. And we're waiting for your approval or
I approve. Yep.
approve. Okay, great. Thank you very much. And Mr. Welch approves, myself. And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. The next item on the list is the ribbon cutting, of which Erin has already told us about. It's at 10 a.m. I just wanted to reiterate. I will be there for part of it. I have a 3-hour meeting, phone call, and then a trip to Virginia after that. So, but I will be there. It'll be exciting, and any members who can make it, it would be great. And Barbara and her group, the friends, always have something awesome to nibble on and drink. I assume it's a sheet cake, Barbara, right?
We're having problems with the Board of Health again.
Oh, you're not the only one. You're not the only one. Okay.
Well,
All right.
Carleen Hempel apparently still doesn't have a serving permit.
Okay.
So if we don't get a serving permit and we can't cancel the cake, we'll just take it up to Pedal Power and people can stop in and help themselves.
Okay.
But we'll have
I'm sorry.
cider.
I'm sorry you're going through that.
Yeah. So I did have a question about the parking. When it was going to be on 4 months ago, the prison was going to allow parking on the grassy field to the right of the parking lot. Erin?
Yes, that is still where parking will be. There will be signage there to that effect saying parking here.
Okay, is there going to be any parking at Giroux?
No, because Giroux is under construction at this point,
Yeah.
so you cannot go to Giroux.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only role that the friends are playing in this is maybe serving cake and having cider.
Okay. And being there to
Well,
celebrate all the work
yeah,
you guys
well, we
have
sent
done.
out a few, we sent out some, publicity.
Okay, great. Well, thanks
Oh,
again.
and we have the bandanas. We've had the bandanas in my dining room for 4 months.
Okay.
Map
Everyone,
bandana. So
everyone
come and
needs to
get your
show up.
map bandana.
Everyone needs to show up and get a map bandana. That's important for you and your family members. Thank you. Next item of business is a new member, nominee, Joanne Crowell, who has been nicely sitting here and is not an official member yet, but a halfway welcome, Joanne. Joanne is scheduled to be confirmed at the next meeting of the select board. I will let her do a more formal invitation, a formal introduction at our next meeting of who she is. But she's been a resident of Concord since 2007 and Carlisle for 20 years before that. She's a retired public school music teacher and adjunct college instructor, and she's an avid user of the trail, a walker and a biker. And we are very excited, Joanne, to have you here. Do you want to say anything?
Not particularly, but I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
You're getting a chance to see how the sausage is made, so welcome aboard.
Thanks.
The last item of business is the Junction Park site visit discussion. The town sponsored the site visit on October 17th. It was quite well attended, I would say. The town is driving this process as directed by the select board. In our role as an advisory committee, we wanted to open the floor first to members to get any of their thoughts on the site visit, and then to hear from members of the public. I'll ask that anybody who has any comments to keep them to 2 minutes or less. And if you're a member of the public, please take your name and address. So this is just to, gather additional data that we can share with the town if anybody has it. So I'll open that up to the board members, committee members first. Anybody have anything they would like to share?
I can start, I guess. So one, I think the conclusion was no one really liked any arrangement of the planters because they seem to have all sorts of different trade-offs that weren't going to help achieve the objective, which is to make, I believe, the park kind of a zone where all users of the space would use it in a safe and compatible manner. I've been less exposed to kind of the history of want to be careful with the words I use, like different perspectives on what the park is and how it should be operated and how people should share the park. So it was a very helpful visit for me to hear the multiple voices there. And I know there's a longer term solution to change the configuration of the park a little bit, but other than the magical ability to get everyone to agree to just kind of be very slow and careful as they go through there, which I have some ideas about, it's kind of a tough combination of both a throughway and a park, which are, sort of two different things. And I'll stop there.
Thank you, Brian. Dorcas? I know you were there briefly.
I was there briefly when I moved them around a little bit, trying different things. The bikers seemed to think that was like an obstacle course and a lot of fun to go through all the different possible ways of getting through there. I really think that the obstacles in the middle of the path don't do a whole lot. That really, the only thing we have, I think, is to keep people from going zooming through the park and over the railroad tracks. I really think that's the only serious thing we have to overcome. And that, I guess, we're waiting to hear from the train people, but that is a really serious problem.
Yep. Thank you, Dorcas. Adrian, you weren't there. You have any comments?
I was not there. No, just soaking in, and I think I can understand being in the park and seeing the size of the planters. I was able to drive by before, so I saw them kind of staged before the site walk, and I can understand why the location of those could be troublesome. But yeah, no, so just eager to hear everyone's thoughts.
So Mary Beth, who is the Commission on Disabilities member who sits on this committee, sent an email and just said, I asked her what her thing is, and I can share it with the committee. She said no additional planters. Have the park remain the same as it is. She said I was in favor of seeing in what ways additional planters might help, but now that I've seen them, I don't think they do much of anything at all. So her take is not to have the planters in there. My take is much the same as Brian's. I think in that I don't think the planters create more problems. The ones in the center, just say the ones in the middle, the 4 or 5 that are in the middle. My opinion is they create more potential issues than they solve. I do support the planters at each end of the park, and especially, as Dorcas said, ones that signify do not cross the tracks. And I know the town is working towards that. So that's, that was my take. I was really glad to see all the people there, the great discussion. We had a number of folks from the Disabilities Commission, and we had I think a very good collection of folks that showed up. And I want to convey the committee's appreciation to Megan and Aaron for doing the work to set this up, and it's in your hands. So look forward to hearing what happens. I'm going to open it up now to members of the public, and Joanne, you're also part of that. Anybody have any comments that they would like to add or make?
My name is Hanura Weiner. I live at 1011 Main Street. My husband and I were at that the park in that area, and it was heated discussion at moments, but lots of people trying to come up with a solution. There was some reference and pointing out of areas where bicyclists could, if you could expand that path through Junction Park, and there appeared to be a way that might be supportive of bikes kind of being on the side of the path. So that was something I was interested in, because it's a small solution that might make a big impact.
So, Ms. Weiner, have you seen the, not that it's top selling reading, but have you had a chance to look at the recommendation made last year by the committee?
Not recently, no, but
okay. So in there, to your point, there were a number of ideas that were put forward that kind of fall under the long-term solution to that end. So I appreciate you bringing it up. I think one of the things this committee wants to do is to have the town think about how can we move towards that long-term solution, so you can create safety by separating wheeled users, not just bicyclists, from other members of the park. So if you're super interested, you can find the proposals on the committee webpage under Junction Park. There's it's a second or third one down in the Junction Park section. But I just point that out.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I understand that there's elements to the short-term, longer-term solutions. So I will look at that. Thank you.
Okay. Other members? Or I'm sorry, other members of the public who have comments? Yes, Ms. Crowell.
Hi.
Name and address, please.
Actually, it's Kroll, but that's fine.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. I didn't realize there was a report that can be read, so I will look at it. But has there consideration been made to people who want to stay on bikes, just give them signage to go around onto Commonwealth Ave and just stay on the street? I'm sure. Okay.
So one of the joys of joining us, and you and I will have a conversation, or Adrian and you and I will have a conversation about kind of what's there. There were 7 different, when the trail was originally discussed, there were 7 different paths that were discussed to take cyclists from the south end of Route 62 to the other side of the depot. It's riveting reading. And
I'll find it.
That's right. Well, I'll send you the link so it's easier
Okay.
for you.
Thanks.
Fine.
Yeah.
So you can
Thanks.
take a look.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? I appreciate everybody's input, and again, we're looking forward to kind of where the town wants to take this, and in our role of being a place where these conversations can happen and these ideas can come to play. We appreciate everybody's work on doing that. The next item, are there any other public comments or correspondence that's come up that people would like to mention? And if not, the last item is our meeting schedule is every 4th Thursday. That happens to be Thanksgiving. I, for one, will not be available on Thanksgiving evening as much as
I think the next one is scheduled for November 30th, the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay. Is everybody okay with it? See, Adrian, it's good that you read. It's good that you read the schedule. Excellent.
No,
okay.
let me double check online, but I think that was caught early in the year to make sure.
Okay.
Hold on.
You're looking at the website, right?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's published that way on the website. So I think it's the 30th. Let me check. Yeah, November 30th.
Okay, great. Perfect. Then our next meeting is scheduled for November 30th at 7 p.m. Most likely it will be Zoom. We will be thinking of Aaron, who will be working on delivering a project or 2 projects. So congratulations on the twins, Aaron. We'll be waiting to hear. And I'd like to, with that happy note, I'd like to again a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I have one more thing.
Sorry. Yes, Dorcas, please.
when we have a meeting, I did not get anything from the town yesterday or the day before yesterday, like I usually do about this meeting. And today I checked my computer around 1 o'clock and there was still nothing.
Yes.
I missed, that's why I'm late.
No,
Okay,
and
and I really think
Hey.
we need,
it's me.
I think we
I
need,
put the wrong names in address. I used the wrong listserv and when I sent it out at 11 o'clock. And so it went nowhere until Adrian reminded me at 3:40 that she hadn't gotten anything yet. So that's totally my fault,
I
Dorcas.
think Dorcas is also mentioning, like in the past, we used to get something directly from the town. Is that what you're mentioning, Dorcas?
in the
I think it
past, we
was
got it a day or two ahead.
like from
Right.
Heather maybe or something. We used to get like notification that it had posted. And now
Yeah,
they're posting, which is great, but I think we're not notified that it's been posted anymore.
Well,
Okay.
I didn't get anything from the town and I didn't get anything from anybody
Right.
today because I checked my computer around 1 o'clock and there was nothing there.
Okay.
I
And
really
that,
think the town would be nice to have it from the town, but I really think if we're gonna get it, we should at least have it by the morning of
yes.
the meeting, not the afternoon.
Okay. I will, that's I own that, all of the materials that are related to the committee meeting. The agenda, Aaron, could we find out how we can get, get the announcement of the agenda to each of the committee members?
I do have a quick question. So I'm sorry, when you've received it in the past, it's been from Heather, or has it been from the town's website saying, here is the agenda? Do you know?
I think it was Heather. Let me see.
Yeah, I think it was too. I think she somehow sent it out. Maybe Marcia asked her to. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay, yeah, because what I do is I send it to the town clerk to be posted, and they send it out to anybody who is subscribed to get notifications. And I didn't know that Marcia used to send it to Heather to have it sent to you also. I apologize for that.
With the town memo too. But that will fall into whoever's doing this next after you head off for a little bit. So you and I we'll talk about this. Adrian, you and I will talk about it just to make sure we have it are fine. Dorcas, I apologize for screwing up this morning and sending it to you. I will do a better job next time. Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Roll call to adjourn. Adrian Boardman,
Aye.
Brian Krause,
Aye.
Dorcas Miller,
Aye.
and Nat Welch. I vote aye as well. And this meeting of the Bruce Freeman Railroad Advisory Committee is adjourned as of 8:10 p.m. Thank you all and have a wonderful week and weekend.